Good afternoon. My name is Harry Earle. The last name is E-A-R-L-E. I am joined today here with our Mayor, Mayor David Mayer, and as the Deputy Chief stated, Camden County Prosecutor Warren Falk, and I thank them both for their support and presence throughout the day today. Please note that I am wearing a mourning band over my badge in honor of a Gloucester Township Police retired corporal, Charles DeWalt, who passed away this past week of natural causes, and is no way related to the incidents that occurred today. I just wanted to make sure that was very clear. Please understand that this is an active investigation and that I am unable to release certain information, as I'm sure you can understand. Today, the men and women of the Gloucester Township Police Department quickly responded to the scene of a domestic violence incident. Their actions of protecting the community quickly escalated from responding to a call for service to performances of heroic actions by members of this police department. Early this morning at approximately 5:30 a.m., an officer was viciously attacked in our police headquarters and was disarmed. The suspect attacked the officers and unleashed a barrage of gunfire at the officers. The officers responded with quick and decisive action and engaged in an armed assailant, firing repeatedly. I am so proud of the actions of these officers as they placed themselves in harm's way to save the lives of their fellow officers, police dispatchers, and our community members during this suspect's escape attempt. I am so thankful that all of the officers that were injured are expected to make a full recovery. The officers involved in today's incidents include Sergeant James Garber, a 13-year veteran of the Gloucester Township Police Department; Sergeant Kevin Thine, an 8-year veteran of the Gloucester Township Police Department; and Officer Ruth Burns, a 1-year veteran of the Gloucester Township Police Department. The specific details that can be released at this time include: this morning, Friday, December 28th, at approximately 1:07 a.m., Gloucester Township Police responded to a residential home located in Gloucester Township for a report of a suspicious person walking around the outside of a home. The caller provided a basic description of the male and a vehicle that was in the area. Officers arrived on location in the area and observed a vehicle matching the description given by the caller leaving the area. The responding officer stopped this vehicle and began speaking with the operator, who identified himself as Eddie Jones III, age 39, of Willingboro, New Jersey. Mr. Jones also produced identification from the New Jersey Department of Corrections and identified himself as a New Jersey Department of Corrections officer. Officers learned during the course of this field investigation that Mr. Jones is employed by the New Jersey Department of Corrections as a civilian communications officer and not a sworn corrections officer. Officers learned that Mr. Jones was stalking the home of a former girlfriend. The location of the initial incident at 1:07 a.m. and the name of the female victim are being withheld to protect the identity of this domestic violence victim. Officers placed Mr. Jones under arrest for numerous offenses, including stalking. Mr. Jones was transported to the Gloucester Township Police Department for processing relating to his charges. As part of standard processing in many cases, the handcuffs were removed at a brief time from Mr. Jones, and then he suddenly attacked the officer, tackling her to the ground, striking her upon the head, and removing her department-issued firearm from her holster. 2 officers immediately proceeded to her aid, and as they entered the processing room, upon hearing the struggle, Mr. Jones opened fire on the 2 officers. Eddie Jones continued rapid fire at the officers, while Sergeant Garber and Sergeant Thine returned fire. Sergeant Kevin Thine was shot in his duty belt, which caused a laceration to his stomach. He also suffered a gunshot graze wound to his chin. Officer Ruth Burns suffered a gunshot wound to her foot. Sergeant Jim Garber was shot multiple times, including at least one time in his chest, which was stopped by his body armor. Sergeant Garber was also shot once in the abdomen and also suffered a grazing gunshot wound to his head. Eddie Jones was shot multiple times by police and was pronounced dead at the scene. Mr. Jones's family has been notified of this attack on our officers and Mr. Jones's subsequent death. Sergeant Kevin Thine and Officer Ruth Burns were treated and released from Cooper Hospital. Sergeant James Garber underwent surgery at Cooper Hospital for a gunshot wound to the stomach and is in stable condition. All officers involved in this incident are on administrative leave, as is standard procedure involving police-related shootings. This investigation is being conducted jointly by the Camden County Prosecutor's Office and the Gloucester Township Police Investigations Bureau. I am thankful to all of the community members, fellow law enforcement officers, and community leaders for their support and prayers throughout this entire day. A special thanks to the Camden Police Department for their assistance at Cooper Hospital. I would also like to thank the Cherry Hill Police Department, Pine Hill Police Department, and Deptford Police Department for providing additional police personnel early this morning to assist with police operations. I would also like to thank the New Jersey Fraternal Order of Police, the Gloucester Township Fraternal Order of Police, and the many officers of the Gloucester Township Police Department who left their homes early this morning to be at the hospital offering their support and prayers. I am also very proud of the officers who responded to assist in the management of this incident, and for the Gloucester Township Police dispatchers and officers who continue to respond to calls for service despite 3 of their police family members being attacked and shot. It is important for our community members to know that we continued and still continue to fully operate and provide police service to the community. This is only because of the dedication of all the members of the Gloucester Township Police Department and our fellow law enforcement officers from throughout the region. Our investigators have been in contact with the New Jersey Department of Corrections, and those officials have offered their cooperation and assistance with this investigation, as well as their condolences to the injured and affected officers. I urge all media members to respect the privacy of officers and their families by not attempting to contact them in any way. Again, I am most thankful for the heroic efforts of these officers in risking their lives and saving the lives of countless others. I'd now like to introduce Mayor David Mayer, Mayor of Gloucester Township. Mayor?
Thank you, Chief. Every day as a mayor, you worry about the safety of those who serve us in public safety. And this morning, the reality of a cruel world fell upon our doorsteps. Today, our community experienced an unprovoked, violent act against those who serve and protect the residents of Gloucester Township. We are so very fortunate, and we thank God that our officers are expected to fully recover. I would like to thank the medical professionals at Cooper University Hospital for their very high level of medical care this morning. But I also want to especially thank Chief Earl, the command staff here in Gloucester Township, and the men and women of the Gloucester Township Police Department for their professionalism and for their dedication to keeping Gloucester Township safe. These guardians in blue leave their families, they leave their homes to protect our families and our homes. So today, we are there for them and for their families. On behalf of the residents of Gloucester Township, I want to thank all those who have expressed well wishes and offers of assistance to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Prosecutor Falk?
I just want to reiterate what Chief Earl said. This is an active, ongoing investigation pursuant to the Attorney General protocols for officer-involved shootings. The prosecutor's office is the lead agency on the investigation, and we're being ably assisted by the Gloucester Township Police Department. This investigation will not be completed for a number of days, and ultimately, when we conclude our investigation, it will be reported to the Attorney General's office. So that's the procedure under which we are operating at this time. And a lot of the details, as Chief Earl indicated, cannot be made public at this time because of an ongoing investigation. So we may not be able to answer all of your questions today, but we wanted to give you as much information as we publicly can at this point. Thank you.
Chief Earl, can I ask, police tell us over and over again that domestic cases are some of the most violent, and that those are the cases they have to be most careful about. Under what circumstances were the handcuffs taken off this prisoner, and was Officer Burns alone with him at the time?
Well, I can answer both your questions. That obviously during the course of nearly all the processing involving an arrested person, it is necessary at times to take off those handcuffs, whether it be for fingerprinting, signing papers, and preparing other documents. And in response to your question, no, there were officers in very close distance to Officer Burns, and this attack against both Officer Burns and then the firing of the weapon happened within seconds. The officers were in very close proximity.
In a nearby room, or was she alone in a room with this suspect?
At the particular time, they were right outside of the room that she was in.
Can you describe, in terms of processing, what the protocol is for an officer who's doing this kind of processing and has their weapon with them. Is that customary that they have their gun with them?
Depends on what type of actual processing. In some cases, yes, the fingerprinting, they do not. But in other types of processing different paperwork, they certainly may not.
And in this case, was it normal? Was it okay that she had her gun with her?
Obviously we're still part of an investigation. I mean, the officers were, of course, injured, so we still want to do many interviews with them and gather those facts. But of the information we have available at this time, yes. But of course, and that's something we're going to constantly review.
Prosecutor Falk, if we can.
Sorry, hold on one second. This gentleman had his hand up.
Thank you. Two questions. One is, what kind of weapon was she carrying? Was it strapped into her holster? And could you describe the relative sizes of the officer and the suspect?
I don't have the information on the sizes. I can tell you that certainly the equipment that we have the threat level 3, the most modern holsters that we have, and that so then yes, that there was secure 40 caliber.
6 hour.
6 hour.
I'm sorry, repeat that weapon again, please?
6 hour P229.
A 6 hour P229 40 caliber.
And how many rounds are in that weapon?
Total of 13.
All right. Question then.
And
Go ahead, Dave.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Chief, has Officer Burns been overpowered before and had her weapon taken away from her in the past?
No. Sean, I think you had a question. So you had a question for the prosecutor?
Yes, I do. Understanding, Warren, that you're really early in the investigation. You can't come to any conclusions, but from all sides here, does this look like a self-defense case? Obviously.
Yes. At this point, all the evidence points. At this point, all the evidence points towards these officers returning fire. After the weapon was secured from the one officer by the deceased, these officers, and he fired the weapon, these officers returned fire. So at this point, there's no evidence to indicate otherwise.
Did he fire all the rounds, all 13 holes?
That's part of the investigation. We're still gathering those facts and not prepared to answer at this time. Yes, sir.
Could you go into a little bit more detail, unless I missed something in your original statement? As he grabbed the weapon, how did Officer Burns react? Who fired the first shot? In other words, was she yelling for help? Did he fire a shot at her? Did the two officers come in simultaneously? Did they peek around the door, open fire? Can you give us a little bit more understanding of how that actually transpired?
Yes, I can give you some, again, understanding that it's under investigation. But as I said before, this happened within seconds, very quickly. And yes, she did summon help, and the help arrived instantly. And then those shots were rung out and proceeded by the suspect himself. Fired those first shots.
He fired first?
I can't specifically say what she said, but it was clear that she brought the attention of the officer standing right there, and they came in immediately.
Did he fire first before she yelled help?
I don't have that. It's too early to say.
Do you have a count of how many shots total?
Not at this time. No.
And what kind of charges was Mr. Jones facing at this point? Misdemeanors?
No, stalking is obviously a serious charge, and the officers consulted with the prosecutor's office even before this incident takes place regarding other domestic violence-related charges.
Did she have a restraining order against the female victim back at 1 o'clock in the morning, his ex-girlfriend? Did she have any kind of restraining order, either current or past, against this individual?
I do not believe current. I'm not certain about the past. That's something we're still exploring.
Were you suggesting that he had a previous record of stalking?
No, I do not have the information one way or the other.
Does he have a record at all?
I couldn't even say if he did. I don't have that information right now, and I couldn't tell you if he did or not.
You said he's from Willingboro. Did you know if he has a family, or if there's more details you can tell us about him beyond the fact that he's a corrections officer?
You are a communications officer working with the New Jersey Department of Corrections, not a sworn officer. I know that we had ensured that the family has been contacted. I can't give specifics about family history and other family relatives that he has. I don't have that information.
How many times he was struck?
I don't have that information right now. We're not prepared to release that.
Is his father a corrections officer?
I don't have that information.
Can you actually go back in terms of as to who arrested Mr. Jones initially and who brought him to the station?
I don't have that specific, the arresting officer. It could have been one of the officers involved, or it could have been another. It's possible.
If the stalking was at 1:05 and the shooting was at 5, what happened in those 4 hours in between?
Certainly part of the regular processing and gathering information and interviews and conducting the investigation. That's common.
Chief, at what point in the processing was Officer Burns when this occurred? Was she doing fingerprinting? What was actually happening, do you know?
That's something that we're still evaluating. I mean, there's a lot of aspects to the processing itself.
Number two, is it possible that she was shot as he took the gun out of her holster?
Again, that is possible, but I don't have the answer one way or the other.
Do you know, by the way, what prison that...
Hold on, but I know Mr. Sean, did you have a question this time?
Yeah, was Mr. Jones, did he yell anything or utter anything as he was taking the gun and then firing the gun?
That's unknown at this time.
What is your department procedure regarding processing? Are officers commonly alone with a prisoner when they take the handcuffs off? Or are there some procedural matters that you'll be looking at and maybe reviewing, or that are already in place that may not have been followed?
Yeah, and I know it's difficult for people to understand when we're speaking about it without actually seeing the area that we're speaking about, but she was not alone. The officers were right at a doorway to a room. So we're not talking about rooms this size, we're talking about rooms that are very small, and I know it's hard to probably visualize that.
Small,
so
dimensions roughly?
I couldn't really say.
10 by 12?
10 by 12, yeah,
But
they're
would they
smaller
have been
rooms.
in visual contact with what she was anybody else normally be in visual contact with what she and the suspect were doing?
That's part of that investigation that we're still conducting. Again, those officers that, were certainly there and involved in this, were injured, and that's part of our investigation that's still
Is there a
ongoing.
video of this room or what happened? Do you guys have video that you'll be looking at of exactly what?
There is video, and then yes, we have viewed it.
So the actual officers outside of the room or in the doorway where the Officer Garber and Officer Fine, they were the ones that were out there right by that doorway, or other officers?
There could have been others, and that's something we're still
But they were
reviewing.
among
But they were there, yes. I'll take one more question.
What prison was...
Go ahead, Sean.
Jones taken into custody without incident?
So the information that we have available at this time, yes.
Had he acted out in any way up until the point where the cuffs were removed?
That's something we're still reviewing, and we want to interview the officers involved to
You
see.
mentioned that he tackled her. Do you know if he assaulted her in any other way?
We said he hit her over the head.
They struck her, yes. All right, thank you very much, folks.
What prison did he work out of?
I don't have that information, I don't know.